Welcome to All About Money on HKIBC. I'm Feng. The government is pulling out all the stops to make the city more attractive to family offices. These entities control billions of dollars in investment on behalf of wealthy families around the world. And the government has set aside $100 million to lure such funds to Hong Kong. Chief Executive John Lee, meanwhile, wants at least 200 family offices to expand or establish operations in the city by 2025. So why do family offices matter, and how can they be better enticed to come here? To discuss this issue, we join Professor Winnie Peng, the director of Roger King Center for Asian Family Business and Family Office at HKUST, and Christine Ho, Deputy Global Head of Family Office at Invest Hong Kong. So welcome to the program.
Thank you, Chloe. Thank you.
And first, let's talk about the concept of family office, because it seems that this concept is still quite niche in Hong Kong, although we do have a lot of very successful family businesses in the city, isn't it? So maybe we start with Winnie.
Okay, I'd like to point out first that, in fact, although the family office concept is quite new in Asia, but Hong Kong is really the birthplace for most of the matured family offices in this region. So this is number one. So you talk about the definition of the family office. The family office is a group as small as an individual who takes care of all the family issues. Okay, so you see the family issues, every family have different issues. So there's also a very famous saying that if you have seen one family office, you have seen one family office. Okay, so in terms of the types of the family office, we have single family office, multi-family office, and also, embedded family office, especially in this part of the world. In fact, we have a lot of embedded family office, which is less formal, less professionalized. Basically, they use the staffs who are working for their family businesses to take care of the family issues.
Yeah, and what about Christine? What do you think about the current landscape of family offices in Hong Kong, in the city?
Well, as Winnie rightly pointed out, Hong Kong has a long history of having family offices. Although that we didn't use family office as an official term to describe this group of people, Winnie said, to manage the family's asset and welfare and whatnot. However, if we look at the families that have been in Hong Kong for a long time, the local Hong Kong families, the Europeans come to Hong Kong and settle down, as well as the new families that are coming from mainland, they all have their staffs that handling the family matters. So they are the prototype of family offices. The reason why family office become a buzzword is because now we give it an official name. That's why it attracts more attention from the public. In terms of the landscape, I think that Hong Kong has always been a hub of wealth management center in Asia. Hence that we have a lot of participants, a lot of families, a lot of family offices, and also the stakeholders around this ecosystem. So it's a burgeoning place in terms of family office in Hong Kong.
Let me supplement a little bit. So I think Hong Kong is also is a good mix of old money and new money. So just now we talked about most matured family offices in Hong Kong, but in fact we also have a lot of new money here in Hong Kong as well. Majority of them actually coming, they have mainland background. They come here, settle in Hong Kong, and set up family offices. Of course, internationally, also can see some Jewish family offices there, Indian family offices here as well.
Right. Yes. Quite international as well.
Yes.
West meets the East.
Yes.
Exactly, like the city feature as well.
Absolutely.
And very quickly, what is the difference between, for example, the mainland family offices and Hong Kong family offices? Are there any distinctive differences?
I personally do not notice distinctive differences. If we have to identify their differences, I guess is the focus of families probably a bit different. I wouldn't categorize mainland family business, or they are the families in Hong Kong or families from Europe or US. But I think the difference between family offices is really about the mandate the team need to take for the family. For example, some family office, they focus on the investment, the asset growth. Some family office focus on the asset preservation, the tax planning. Some family office focus on the social impact, social enterprise, or the support of philanthropy. So the difference is really about their focus and what the team undertakes. And of course that there are, if you look at sizable families, they might have teams that undertake different mandates. For example, they have a team that undertake the philanthropy part, the other team undertakes the investment part. So, and they collaborate together really to, at the end of the day, is to help the family to manage the wealth matters.
With regard to the differences between mainland China and Hong Kong, just now I talked about Hong Kong as old wealth, a mix of old wealth and new wealth. And mainland China mostly should be new wealth. Okay, so the new wealth.
What do you mean by new and old wealth?
New wealth is wealth generated within one generation. Old wealth is wealth generated in more than one generation. So because of history of mainland Chinese family businesses, the only very short time, over 40 years history. So, still those wealthy families still in their first generation. So that's new wealth. But, a majority of the old wealth in Hong Kong, actually they have family business to back up them, right? So family business at the same time, they generate profit. Then those kind of source of wealth become the source for them to start up family offices. Okay, so the old wealth, mainly actually from the family businesses in Hong Kong. But new wealth is different. New wealth in mainland China could be from family business, the profits from family business, but also could be from the exit from the family business. Okay, they sold out the business. Family business also varies. One is traditional family business, one is new economy family business or business. Okay, for example, Alibaba, it's not family business, but we have several, founders of Alibaba. In fact, they set up family offices in Hong Kong as well.
Maybe we can also interpret in terms of their new and old, is also with the interest in the new sectors, emerging markets as well. Can we interpret it in that way?
And also, it's also the difference level of family complexity. New wealth, mainland China, single child policy, 3 people in a family, the family issues much less than, say, in Hong Kong, a large family and several generations there. So what they care actually totally different. So for mainland China, the family offices, they care about financial returns. Okay, financial roles for the family office. While in Hong Kong, they care about not just financial, but also non-financial roles for the family office.
Like the social impact?
For example, and also family governance, family philanthropy, all those things. Yes.
Right, and it's also kind of interesting in a way because there's a generational issue that's also quite special for the family office as well. And speaking about your role, Christine, at Invest Hong Kong, your role is mainly for attracting those, family offices to set up in the city. And I know that the city is also going to host a summit to complement the progress as well. The meeting is titled The Wealth for Good in Hong Kong, and there are 4 themes of this event, including the wealth for tech, wealth for art, wealth for green, and wealth for philanthropy. So I'm thinking from your current work experience, what do you think their interest will be mainly focused on for those overseas family offices, and how can the city's strengths also match their investment interests?
Sure, I think that you brought up a very good point, is that I think what we're doing now is to find what Hong Kong's good at, as well as what the needs are there, be it overseas families or mainland families. So we want to utilize what Hong Kong is good at to help the families to meet their needs. And that's why they come to Hong Kong, either set up the presence here and grow and invest in Hong Kong, or through Hong Kong to invest in Asia. So that's why we position ourselves as the hub for Asia. And one of the few advantages that Hong Kong have, one, of course, the most well-known one is that we're the natural gateway to mainland, and also the natural gateway to the world for mainland families. Besides that, we have to bear in mind that Hong Kong is a very well-established financial center. That means that we have the infrastructure in place. The reason why this is important is that when we look at families, while they're getting more and more sophisticated, their needs is very diverse. If we can categorize these needs into 4 categories, for example, asset growth, asset preservation, lifestyle, as well as social impact. All these 4 needs actually, if you break them down, it covers a lot of areas. In order to support, and when it comes to family, although it can be a small family or big family, but all the family have something in common, is that they all have all these 4 needs. So in order to find an operation center to meet all these needs, such operation center should have a very comprehensive financial system in place in order to meet those needs, because they are very complex. You would need to have a tax system, for example, a very lovely living environment. You would need to have a IPO market for the asset growth. You would need to have a sound legal system in place to protect the assets and whatnot. And if we look at Hong Kong, we have everything in one place. That's make ourselves so unique.
Very diverse.
Very diverse, and diverse at the same time. Our infrastructure is first class. We are always ranked the top tier financial center in the world. So these, of course, is embodied as well as for the asset allocation, that we can talk about tech, we can talk about the alternative investment, we can talk about, for example, virtual asset, the crypto asset, digital asset. I'm sure that you're well aware of that. FSTB, now we're looking to introduce regulation, SFC, undertaking the mandate to introduce a new license of virtual asset as well. So you can see that we have a very sound infrastructure in place so that we can help families around the world and the mainland to achieve the asset allocation need, as well as preservation, as well as social impacts.
Right.
May I supplement a little bit? So besides all the great points addressed by Christine, there were 3 other things. The first is actually Hong Kong is the leading art market in Asia. So that's what family office is like. We also have world-leading, world-class universities in town, and for example, science, technology, right? And also our business school recently actually opened up a program on green finance. This is exactly suitable for the theme of the conference. Yes.
Right. Thank you very much for your thoughts. We'll take a short break for now, but coming up next, we'll have more discussions over the city's family office drive. So do stay tuned. Welcome back to All About Money on HKIBC. I'm Feng. Still with us today is Professor Winnie Peng, the director of Roger King Center for Asian Family Business and Family Office at HKUST, and Christine Ho, Deputy Global Head of Family Office at Invest Hong Kong. So thank you for joining us today. And briefly, we have mentioned about the concept of family office and also, the upcoming summit to encourage more family office to set up in Hong Kong. And meanwhile, I know that from last October, Chief Executive John Lee also set up a goal for actually your office attracting 200, not less than 200 family office to establish or expand their operation in the city. So Christine, I just want to know, if there are any updates about, your work so far, and what kind of family offices are you in touch with them so far?
Sure. The goal, I would say that it's to attract for Hong Kong. And the goal is a mandate that all departments of Hong Kong SRG going to do together. And we need everyone to work together. As I mentioned before, that the need of family office is so diverse that we will need to work as a team to attract, for example, the licensing, the tax department, SFC and whatnot. And in terms of the work that we've done, we've been actively promoting Hong Kong. Invest Hong Kong is the promoter of Hong Kong to attract business around the world to come to Hong Kong as well as from mainland. And in terms of the families that we have been speaking with, mainland for sure, we've been speaking with a lot of families in mainland as well as the stakeholders in mainland. We are also speaking to families in Middle East or based in Middle East, as well as families in Europe. We continue to explore and continue with the conversation with families around the world. We don't have a preference towards a certain region. It's just that in terms of reaching our effort, we want to focus on where that we see Hong Kong's advantage will be appreciated.
All right. And also, Winnie, which region, I mean, although Christine said that we don't really have a preference in terms of region, but which region shall we maybe target more on?
Mainland China
or focus on?
Definitely is our greatest market. We should be very practical about that, okay? But then other than Mainland China, I believe, for example, South Korea, Japan, they have very high inheritance tax. And actually I have been approached by quite a few Japanese and also Korean families. They are very interested to set up their family offices outside of their country. And of course, I believe Hong Kong also have similar interests. Yeah, that's just my point. Yeah.
But speaking of mainland China, we all know that it is definitely a huge market, and there's also many wealthy, high net worth individuals as well, and the number is also growing during the pandemic. But then it seems that there's an issue about the capital control issue. How can we tackle this aspect in terms of attracting those mainland family office?
Well, Hong Kong is positioned as a offshore center, technically. There is a FX control between Hong Kong and mainland cities. We are more catered to the offshore money for mainland investors who want to do asset allocation out of mainland. And this FX control, I think, is the country's policy, which is for the greater good. And hence that from Hong Kong's point of view, the growth is very much about the asset that's from offshore asset, the growth of asset.
Yeah, got it. And also earlier we have mentioned about their investment interests, and both of you mentioned a variety of possible investment areas, including tech, virtual asset, green tech, and also charity works. And I know for many family office, they want to have a social impact as well. But then also, can you tell us what are the current challenge of continuing such charity or philanthropy works for those family office, and how can be overcome as well?
Okay, let me answer. So, in fact, impact investing has just become very popular nowadays, okay? So it's like a hot topic. But not so many people really understand what is impact investing. Okay, so actually I'm doing several case studies on several Hong Kong family offices. They have their total liquid asset 100% fully invested in impact-related, investments, which is very impressive. But I also learned from them is that it's very, very challenging. Number one, they need to find the right talent, to really do the impact investing. Not so many people really understand this concept. They think, it's all, if the company is really related to ESG category, it's impact investing. It's not like that. And second is the return, financial return, right? Also, people misunderstand that you have to sacrifice financial return in order to create impact in a society, okay? But then why do you want to do impact investing? Because it's an investment, right? If you sacrifice all your returns, then your investment cannot be sustainable, okay? So we do need the right talent, okay? But also need to understand the family's needs. What's family's mission? Its mission is to generate high return, then maybe you forget about the impact investing because of many different kind of asset class, you can generate higher returns. Second is if you really have some kind of mission and value to help the society, then you should really lower down your expectation. But at the same time, you have to really make sure your your investment activities is sustainable. Yes.
And what is your style, Christine?
Well, I completely agree that it's impact investing is a new area of interest, and because it's new, there's a lot of discussion how to do it, what's the right way to do it, which will make it interesting as well. And so I think that philanthropy is one of the areas that government is trying to build Hong Kong as a hub of in Asia as well. So in a sense is that I think the ecosystem is important. Being investment, being social impact investing, social philanthropy, the ecosystem in a sense is that you have people, you have network to speak to. You know the NGOs that needs the money. You know the social enterprise that needs money. You know who to speak to, who knows this social enterprise. And you want to have like-minded funders to work with you together to fund this project, fund the NGO and fund the social enterprise as well. So that's why an ecosystem is very important. That's why we all look at Silicon Valley, for example, as it has a very good ecosystem for tech startups, whatnot. And what Hong Kong wants to do is build an ecosystem that's for philanthropy or social impact. As Winnie rightly pointed out, talent is important, but before that, understanding what the family wants to achieve is a very important starting point. Without knowing what the family wants to achieve, it's hard to chart your journey down the road.
What do you think they will want to achieve more than like their purpose?
Well, if we look at the development of the philanthropy in Europe and US, it was driven by tax. It's tax reason. In Asia, because our tax rate is low, hence that such a reason might not be as apparent. However, because now we are talking more about doing good to the society, we encouraging doing well and doing good. I think this is the mindset, is the trend of the society that we look at. While business doing good, earn money, at the same time, it doesn't exclude the enterprise to do good to the society as well. I think that the drive to achieve both at the same time is something that's driving them as well.
One point I want to add is that sometimes we need to understand the family needs, but sometimes we may need to educate them to understand their power as well. Okay, they are very powerful, very wealthy. Then actually we can try to tell them actually what kind of things actually can be more meaningful for them to do. So impact investing, philanthropy is really two very important subjects that I always emphasize in our family business, family office training programs. Okay, just try to educate them a bit more on these two subjects so they can realize actually they can do more things for the society. Yes.
And many also reach family offices, also moved to Singapore during the pandemic. Is there any chance that we can catch up with them? Like there's also a lot of
they're moving back. The good news is they're moving back. We call them...
You've seen the progress?
Yes, absolutely. We've been in touch with the people, the stakeholders, getting the feedback from the trend. And we do see that a lot of families and talents moving to Singapore are now considering moving back after experiencing Singapore in the last 2 years. So of course we need to do more. That's why the government introduced this new talent scheme, which I heard the latest number is that there are 9,000 of approval cases already. Hence that we focus on talent, and we very much emphasize the importance of the talent in growing the city in all industries. And then we're doing it, and then we encourage all stakeholders to work together to have a good practice so that talent will come to a place where they can learn a new skill, improve their skill, and get the knowledge in that network as well.
Yeah, one last point I want to add is that I never think that Hong Kong should regard other places as competitors. No, because diversification and global asset allocation is the trend for family offices. In terms of, regarding Singapore as our competitor, actually we think we should work together closely. Okay, so this will be, I think, will definitely create a much more broad ecosystem for family offices development in Asia. Yes.
All right, thank you very much for your thoughts, Winnie and Christine. Appreciate your time. And thank you for watching. All About Money will be back next Sunday night. So until the next time, please have a good night.